Okay, students, in this video we're going to be looking at finding 3D models online to help with our prototyping of different games. In the end, when you're making your own game, you should always either hire or work with an artist or make assets yourself, but sometimes when you're making a quick prototype, you just need something that's going to get the job done. So the internet is a great place to find all sorts of interesting 3D models. A great website for this, for example, is Sketchfab, where I can type something in here like castles and immediately find all sorts of different options. If I really want crates, again, I can find all sorts of crates. Be aware that not all of these are free. You have to watch out for ones, for example, that have a price tag. You also need to find ones that are downloadable when you search, so that you can actually download them. Things that are low poly are always good options because they will be a small download. Other useful websites are TurboSquid, which, for the same reasons, you want to look for things that are free and downloadable, or Google Poly, which I think is exclusively things that are free. When looking on Sketchfab, you want to find things that are both downloadable, and when you click the Download 3D Model, have FBX listed as their format. You could use other formats, but you would have to convert them to FBX using 3D Studio Max or another piece of software. It's usually easier to just stick to things that have FBX as their original format. One more thing that I should mention is these are other people's work, so always look at your license. For example, these cool columns are listed as having a Creative Commons Attribution license, which means that if I continue to use them in my work, I need to attribute it. Basically, I need to make sure I mention that this person made it in my credits or anytime I post it as work. These are some cool columns that I'm going to download. Here they are in my downloads folder, and I'm going to extract them. Now, if we look at them, we can see usually from Sketchfab they come with two folders. One is source, which has the FBX, and the other will be textures, which has the materials that are on the object, assuming it has materials. Back in Unreal, I'm going to be in my statics folder, and I'm going to drag in my column, FBX. Now, again, we have to think about some of our questions here. Is it a skeletal mesh? No. Do I want it to generate collision? Yes. Do I want it to combine meshes? No, because there were at least 3 column types. And farther down, do I want it to import materials and textures? This doesn't always work depending on your folder structure, but this is where it'll search. It'll search in the local folder or under the parent or under the root. I'm going to try all assets here because they're in a different folder, but it's likely that they won't work. That's okay though, because we can still import the materials after the fact. So you can see I got here my files, but I didn't get materials. We'll fix that in a second. If I drag it in, we can see here's the object. Its pivot is a little off center, but at least I can see it. Opening the folder again, I'm going to go to the textures folder. I'm going to grab the Citadel column materials. I'm going to skip the internal ground texture because that has to do with Sketchfab's preview system. The materials are importing just like they did in our texture import video. And then I'm going to make a new material for Citadel. And I'm going to rebuild the material from there. Now I could change the material out here on my object in the scene by grabbing the Citadel material and putting it in there, and it'll suddenly look good. But that's only going to fix it on this one. You note it hasn't fixed it on our object. I can fix it on our object by double-clicking and opening the static mesh editor. Now I can change the material out here. And choose Save. One other thing that I know is going to be a problem with this specific object is that I suspect that its collision that was generated is a little too simple. If I want my character to be able to jump in here, he's going to get stuck on this collision. If we look at the complex collision, we can see that's a little more detailed. To fix this, in Details, I'm going to scroll down to my collision settings. And I'm going to change the collision complexity from project default to either simple and complex, or in this instance, use complex as simple. Once I save, this object will have the right material, and my character will be able to jump through it or on it, wherever else I need. I would then need to repeat the process with each of these other columns, changing out their material and changing their collision.